This, ladies and gentlemen, is MBT-B that has been spotted on the live server. I have actually received a couple replays about MBT-B already, but this one was sent to me by Boca1, so shout out to you. Thank you very much for sharing this battle with me. Boca1, who just ate 943 damage from 183 across the map, and Boca1, by the way, is playing with this 1-2-1 on the left, what you can see over there. So once again, thank you for sharing this replay, and all the sound effects, all the penetrations, damage received, all the sound effects are actually against that 1-to-1, because we are actually third person stalking this MBT-B that has been spotted on the live server. And as I said, there have actually been so many of you guys who said that they have seen MBT-B. I have not been lucky enough to see it myself while playing on the live server, but I have seen some other Supertest vehicles which are being tested out, and almost the daily, well actually every single day when I have streamed, there are people in the chat who are saying that MBT-B is in my battle or was in my battle. But guys, we're going to talk about this tank a bit more while you can enjoy this type of replay. Featuring this tank. We're going to come back to MBT-B because we actually have a couple other topics as well what you guys wanted me to talk about, and this mainly affects RU server because over there have been very, how to say, interesting changes. They had their update 1.20 as well, which is not exactly what we got on the EU server, NA server, Asian server. Yes, there are the vehicle buffs and nerfs, there was the new map as well, but there were a couple other things in that update. For example, artillery changes on the RU server, and why I'm sharing this in the first place is like there is no guarantee that we are going to receive this on EU, NA, Asia server. Absolutely no guarantee, because now this is hosted by a different company, right? Because this is RU server, and you know, for the reasons we all know, this has been you know, taken over by a different company. But some of those changes are interesting to talk about at least, and I want to hear your opinion on it if you have not heard about that. So let's start with the artillery changes that they had over there. First of all, and I have a couple video clips for you as well. So first of all, the stun can no longer be stacked. What that means is, you know, right now in the game, let's say you got stunned for 20 seconds and another, let's say you have like 5 seconds left, another vehicle hits you and your stun is going to be longer now. Not the full extra 20 seconds, but you know, your stun will be extended a bit, but not anymore over there with this new addition or with this new feature. What do you think about that, guys? Should this be implemented to the EU server as well? Secondly, you are no longer able to stun your teammates anymore. Teammates are not getting stunned because their reasoning was something like to support more and not be afraid to stun your own vehicles and actually help a flank which needs helping and so on. Not like making it more a support role for your vehicles, so own vehicles are not getting stunned anymore. And another thing they did was they reworked the stun time for all the stunning SPGs which are able to stun. And what that means is right now, let's take D92 for example. D92 tier 10 American SPG. The stun duration, if we are looking at in the game, is from 14 to 35 seconds. So if you hit something, you don't know exactly how long you're going to stun them. Is it like 15 seconds? Is it 25 seconds? 30 seconds? What is it, right? They made it a fixed amount. They made it a fixed amount of seconds. For example, T92 previously, it had 14 to 35 seconds, but now it is flat out 24.5, and this does not stack any longer. And the same goes to the, let's say, German SPG, which had from 12 to 31 seconds. Now it is 21.7 seconds. The Conqueror Gun Carrier, or Gun Garage, whatever it was, all the way up to 33 seconds from 13.2 seconds. Now it is 23.1 second fixed stun amount. And they did that to all the other SPGs which have this stun mechanic on. Once again, what do you guys think about that? Should our developers think about that as well, or implement this into the game as well? And of course, you can you can lower the stun time, the fixed stun time with your field mods or spawn liner or equipment units which help it out. And also what they did, ladies and gentlemen, is that you are no longer able to damage your own tank in artillery shooting into the wall. You are not able to go out while your team is losing and you are simply going to destroy yourself. Nah, not over there. This, as far as I understand, only counts like shooting into the wall, splashing yourself to death, and this does not count on the drowning, if I am not mistaken. So if the drowning would be fixed as well, I would love to see this today on every single server, because the drowning and just self-destruction, this is just the lowest mob they can do, or anyone can do really. It doesn't only go against artilleries, it's the same with the the drowning mechanic on other vehicles. I think I'm actually going to talk about this in one other video. Like I want to dedicate one full video for that because I have some ideas as well what Wargaming maybe is not thinking about, or maybe this is a little bit helpful, but more about that in the future. But yeah, guys, what do you think about all of that? Please let me know. And another thing what was over there in the update 1.20 server was anti-flip feature. Now if you flip your vehicle, after some time it will be knocked back up, but this has already been put into test by the community because devs over there, maybe they do not test everything fully. And as you can see over here, this type of thing can happen as well with this new anti-flip mechanic. So guys, what do you think about this one? I'm honestly not super sure because, yeah, well, it happens when it happens to you. It sucks and you want it, you need it. But on the other hand, think about the moments when you see enemy tank flipped, extremely key enemy tank flipped, and you are able to farm it for free. Those moments are very awesome. Now, what I would maybe do, I wouldn't do straight out anti-flip, which helps you to flip back on tracks without any problems whatsoever. Maybe I would choose something like War Thunder has. If I'm not mistaken, there is the feature which allows allies to hook on the vehicle, on the flip tank, and then knock them back on tracks. Maybe something like that in World of Tanks as well. It doesn't need to be a hook or a visual hook. Maybe just ally needs to drive on the side, click the button, and after, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds your ally who is flipped is going to be flipped back on tracks. Maybe something like that. I'm not super sure about the straight out flipping because it removes some fun out of the game. Maybe, of course, unless it happens to you, right? So guys, what do you think about those? You wanted to see me talking about them, artillery changes, and also the anti-flip feature on the RU server. Once again, guys, no guarantee whatsoever that EU server or any other Wargaming server is going to get it. This is just information that is out there. So now that topic out of the way, those topics out of the way, let's talk about this MBT-B. This is the Tier 10 American heavy tank that at first, guys, oh boy, who remembers when I talked about this vehicle at first? That this was the tank that basically had absolutely everything. Mobility, DPM, penetration, shell velocity, accuracy, gun handling, armor, like this tank had it all in the first iteration, and Wargaming has actually been tuning it quite a bit, and now when Supertesters are able to play with it on the live server, it seems to be in a bit more balanced state, because the armor is not that straight out impenetrable, definitely not. There is actually a couple of very, very obvious and easy weak spots to penetrate, which, makes this tank situationally, armor-wise, quite weak, but overall it seems to be slapping with its 420 alpha, as you were able to see in this battle from the gameplay. But now going a bit more in depth what the MBT-B is in its current state after it has been tuned and straight out nerfed from its first iteration. Here is the armor model versus its own rounds. 265mm of penetration AP, which is very high, standard AP penetration I would say. Usually standard APCR gets this type of penetration, but AP 264 or 330 with heat, and you can see some quite obvious weak spots. The turret layout is very strange. The right side of the turret, like looking it from this angle, you know, from the tank's perspective, the right side or the left side from our view, is very freaking strong and almost impenetrable, guys. Look at that. 300, 400, like I don't know where to start, right? But at the same time, the left side of the turret is 240 and very easily penetrable plates over there. There is a spaced armor, but this just seems to be a visual model which is blocking the view a bit, but it is still quite big and you should be able to hit it quite easily. On the flat ground you can see lower plate, like lower plate is extremely weak, so if you are going into positions and your tank is not hull down, it is going to be easy penetration as well. And there are some weird side skirts, or however I have to call those, which are green as well right now, so penetrating wise this tank should not be a problem to penetrate unless it is hull down under angle like that. Wall is maybe right over there and over there, or some very weird rock. Well, yeah, in some positions it can turn into the most annoying tank to deal with because of its armor layout and values, but other than that, yeah, you can see that it can be penetrated, right? And versus 330mm of heat round, well, not much changes on the hull. Hull seems to be hyper strong. Like, look at this slopiness, look at the shape. Hull seems to be hyper strong. No weak spots whatsoever on the upper hull area. Lower plate peak, side skirts over there, and this is also easily penetrable. So good to see that a tank doesn't have impenetrable armor and annoying to play against, right? So what does it have to offer? And I'm comparing it to S-Conk and also E5. E5 is American S-Conk, but you know, a bit different playstyle. So it doesn't have as good of a DPM, but it has 20 extra alpha damage. So 420 versus 400. It has more alpha damage. But 300 less, 340, 370 less DPM. Shell velocity, AP shell velocity 1200. That's actually quite nutty, right? If you think about that. How much was the heat shell velocity? Let's see. 1000, which is also very good for a heat round. Okay, 45 shells in total. Gun handling, well, this was through the roof. This was just absolutely nuts crazy before. Now it has been tuned. It is worse than on E5. Dispersion is better than on E5, but worse than on S-Conk, so straight bang on in the middle. Dispersion values is the same as on E5. I was free marking my E5 without stabilizer, actually. I was using improved hardening, turbo, and rammer, and in some battles ventilation instead of improved hardening. And it worked fine for me. The stabilization worked fine for me. It is not as good as on S-Conk, but still, you know, workable. I believe MBT-B can be played the same. Turret traverse is actually a bit better even, as you can see, than S-Conk. It has minus 10 degrees of gun depression, 20 degrees of gun elevation, same after firing. Dispersion, mobility. It seemed to be very mobile in that battle, what we were able to see fly around. 14 of speed, 15 moving backwards, so the best over here. Power to weight ratio is 16.67, which is very nice as well, I would say. The rain resistance exactly the same like E5, so mobility overall is like E5. E5 has, you know, tiny touch better power to weight ratio, but slightly better mobility. Here are the armor values as well, but we already saw the armor model, which actually, you know, values way more or gives us way more information. And engine like E5. Okay, so engine is like E5. Is the engine power the same? Actually not. A bit better. All right. And view range 420. Yes, it has 420 meters view range, I guess, because of that massive binoculars or telescope on the top of the turret or something like that. But yeah, this is MBT-B spotted on the live server as well. What is this tank going to be, guys? We just had the assembly shop event. I was maybe thinking maybe assembly shop event. We just had new Clan Wars tank as well. Where are they going to put it? How are they going to use it? Wherever, or, you know, where are we able to get this tank? I have two ideas. I don't know if this is for a personal mission campaign. My other idea is actually the rank battles, the onslaught. There might be onslaught rewards, including tanks, like we have had with the ranked battles. We had the first onslaught test season, right? We had the Bond Turbo as the reward over here, I guess, just to test it out, how players like it, how we take it, before they are actually going to replace onslaught, or before they're going to replace ranked with onslaught for good. What do you think about that? This is a tier 10 reward tank for onslaught, for ranked battles. Guys? Would that be fitting? Because, once again, as I said, assembly shop, no go. We just had one, unless they are testing it very early, before the next assembly shop event. We just had new Clan Wars tank as well, 116F3. Yeah, I guess. It makes sense. It would make sense, but maybe they have completely different ideas with this. What do you guys think about everything covered in today's video? Please let me know in the comment section down below, because you have been awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I love you all. Stay awesome, take care, and bye.